Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 2. We are going to start the new canto now from today onwards. The second canto is entitled The Cosmic Manifestation. Chapter number 1, entitled The First Step in God Realization. Text 1. Shri Shuka Uvacha Varyaneshate Prashnaha Kruto Lokahitam Nripa Atmavid Sammatah Pumsam Shrotavyadishiyah Paraha. Translation. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, "My dear king, your question is glorious because it is very beneficial to all kinds of people. The answer to this question is the prime subject matter for hearing, and it is approved by all transcendentalists." Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Even the very question is so nice that it is the best subject matter for hearing. Simply by such questioning and hearing, one, because Lord Krishna is the original Supreme Person, any question about him is original and perfect. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that the highest perfection of life is to achieve the transcendental loving service of Krishna. Because questions and answers about Krishna elevate one to that transcendental position. The questions of Maharaj Parikshit about Krishna philosophy are greatly glorified. Maharaj Parikshit wanted to absorb his mind completely in Krishna, and such absorption can be effected simply by hearing about the uncommon activities of Krishna. For instance, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that simply by understanding the transcendental nature of Lord Krishna's appearance, disappearance, and activities, one can immediately return home back to Godhead and never come back to this miserable condition of material existence. It is very auspicious, therefore, to hear always about Krishna. So Maharaj Parikshit requested Shukadeva Goswami to narrate the activities of Krishna so that he could engage his mind in Krishna. The activities of Krishna are non-different from Krishna himself. As long as one is engaged in hearing such transcendental activities of Krishna, he remains aloof from the conditional life of material existence. The topics of Lord Krishna are so auspicious that they purify the speaker, the hearer, and the inquirer. They are compared to the Ganges water, which flow from the toe of Lord Krishna. Wherever the Ganges waters go, they purify the land and the person who bathes in them. Similarly, Krishna Katha, or the topics of Krishna, are so pure that wherever they are spoken, the place, the hearer, the inquirer, the speaker, and all concerned become purified. This is Bhaktivedanta purport. Hare Krishna. So, in this particular translation, Shukadeva Goswami is saying that the question, the word used is question, not plural questions. So there was only one question asked by Parikshit Maharaj. What is that question? What should he do now, given the fact that he is going to leave his body in 7 days, or rather he is going to die in 7 days, right? So this question is glorious. We are in the midst of, overpowering media. So when Srila Prabhupada was in the West, in the US, initially when he went there, he saw that how the Americans subscribe to the newspapers, and how big are the newspapers? They are so fat. Okay. So much so, they subscribe not only just to the newspapers, they also subscribe to so many magazines, highly evolved, wonderful technology, In those days I'm talking about. Hmm? So they are quite interested in reading it, but then within half an hour they will read and throw it. Hmm? Nowadays, of course, the number of papers in the newspaper has come down, okay, because they say the reading habit of the people has come down, okay. But how about the curiosity of knowing things? Prabhu, it is said in the Vedanta Sutra that atato brahma jignasa. So as human beings, we have to inquire, but where are we inquiring into the Brahman? But we are inquiring into what is happening around. Hmm? What is the latest film? No, somebody told, that latest film Kantara has some devotional elements. It seems we can go and see. No, Prabhuji told that we should not go into the see the films. Huh? So then, no, it's okay. We'll not tell Prabhuji. It's okay. We'll go and have a view of the film. Now, what happened to that match? India versus Pakistan. So many things. No, I'm a devotee. I'm not supposed to look at all of these things. No. Maybe it's okay. Nobody's watching, right? What you're watching in the mobile. It's okay. It really doesn't matter. Right? So, today we are in the era of where our natural curiosity is being misused. Our natural curiosity to ask right questions is being misused. By whom? Everybody. Be it the politicians, be it the, great film actors, or the movie producers, or the, big, cricket matches, so many things, and even the social media. The social media is so well trained in their algorithms. They know exactly when you would get into endless swiping. Endless swiping. So much of content. Keep on swiping up. They know when you are exactly going to use. When are you going to use the mobile more? Sorry? Sorry, you're not using, is it? I'm speaking to elevated saints, I guess. Huh? Huh? Sorry? Night time. Why? Is it that at that time our Brahma Jignasa is so high, that's why, we, keep, looking at that mobile, to answer all of our Brahma Jignasa questions? No, at that time you're tired. Your mind is tired, your intelligence is tired. So what else? Is that the only time? Tiredness is the only time? So the psychologists have analyzed, and then whatever the analysis of the psychologists is being misused or abused by the social media giants to know when you are exactly hungry, when you are exactly angry, when you are exactly lonely, when you are exactly tired. At that time, keep pumping notifications after notifications. One of the notifications, you open it up and you end up, browsing or, endlessly swiping up things. Using or rather misusing your intelligence and curiosity factors in a way they can get profited. Right? So, but while this is the one other extreme of how, there is a systematic propaganda of misusing one intelligence, there is yet another great propaganda being done by the acharyas. Their propaganda is not too much. It's all principle driven. Okay? It's all focused, not on anything else, but your interest alone. So that's why Shukadev Goswami is saying to Maharaj Parikshit that your question is glorious because it is very beneficial to all kinds of people. But the questions which we ask, the things which are fed into our brain by the social media, is beneficial to some set of people who pay to the social media, who pay to somebody and create lot of narratives which are apparently not at all beneficial to us. But whereas the acharyas, who are coming about with this kind of an information, it's actually meant for the benefit of all kinds of people. Here we see Maharaj Parikshit, who was the sole sovereign of the entire world. He was the sole sovereign. He was ruling the entire earth planet. Not like today, multiple kingdoms, multiple countries, multiple presidents. Every 5 years they keep changing, so much of narrative issues, nothing like that. So Parikshit Maharaj was sole emperor of the entire planet. So he had the vast experience of dealing with, lakhs and lakhs of issues on day-to-day basis and addressing those issues. So such as an experienced person is asking a question to Shukadev Goswami. And Shukadev Goswami is congratulating Parikshit Maharaj for asking such wonderful question, because that question is something is beneficial to all kind of people. But by the way, not everybody thinks like Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj was aware that he is going to die in 7 days, so then he is not having any more plans in his life. Okay, he gave up all of his plans and he told to his son Janmejaya to rule the world, and then he has come down to the bank of Yamuna, and hence how his question will be relevant to me, whereas in my case I have not given up all those things. I have a lot of things to pursue in my life and achieve a lot of things in my life. So how is that the question which is asked by Maharaj Parikshit is even relevant to me in my life? What do you all say? See, the thing is that the philosophy of Bhagavata philosophy is not something to be implemented only in the state of detachment, only in the state of where are vairagis, or the vanaprasthas, or the sannyasis. The philosophy of Krishna consciousness can be perfectly applied even by the grihasthas who are entangled in their own material affairs and dealing with ordinary stuff like that. What is the great example we have? We have the example of the Pandavas themselves. Right? Pandavas were so great, exalted devotees of Lord Krishna. Right? They were so great, exalted devotees of Krishna. What they were doing, what they were fighting for? They were fighting for property. It's a property dispute, right? It's apparently a property dispute. They want to settle it out by battling it out. And then afterwards they became the kings. Right? So, but then, even that aspect also can be addressed. Even if a person is not a sannyasi, even if a person is not a vanaprastha or a brahmachari but a grihastha, handling all material things in life, all these things in life, but yet if a person is absorbed in his mind, absorbed in Krishna consciousness, he can be much, much more successful than the ordinary people. Pandavas have demonstrated it. They could be much, much more successful than anybody else, right? But of course, their most important success was that they always had Krishna with them. That was the most important success which they had. So Shukadev Goswami is Prabhupada is saying in the purport that even the very question is so nice that it is the best subject matter for hearing. If it is best subject matter for hearing, why is that, when we are listening to the class in Bhagavatam class, we are getting sleep? We are not paying attention. Why is that, we are getting sleep? We shouldn't be getting sleep at all, no? So the point here is that actually, when we came into the Krishna consciousness initially, okay, we were all, like a frog which was, on a frying tawa, jumped out of it, okay, and came towards Krishna. Huh? And having come to Krishna afterwards, what had happened? सब शांति हो गया, सब आंसर्स मिल गया प्रभु जी. हाँ? कुछ सोचने का जरूरत नहीं है. हाँ? सब आंसर्स मिल गया. Prabhupada explained everything. What I could imagine and what I cannot imagine, everything he has answered. So there was one devotee named Mahabuddhi Prabhu. Now some around 3 or 4 years back he passed away. He came to our temple also some years ago. So this great devotee Mahabuddhi Prabhu was very well built, okay, muscular. So one fine day, he started reading Prabhupada's books, but he wasn't too sure whether Srila Prabhupada is the Acharya, whether Srila Prabhupada is the person whom he should take shelter. Okay. So somehow he came up with some 4 questions. Okay, he would like to ask those questions to Srila Prabhupada to decide whether Srila Prabhupada is the Guru whom he has to consider. Okay, what are the questions? There are some 4 questions about what is absolute truth, how to approach it, and what should she do, and what is his future, and things like that. Some 3-4 questions he has come up with. Okay. So he comes and enters into the room where Srila Prabhupada is speaking. Okay. That room was filled with all sannyasis, with all dandas. Dandas means big sticks. Okay. The air was filled with all sticks, so in front of Srila Prabhupada. And then there was only just 2 Grihastha devotees, that is Jayatirtha and one more devotee. And then one person in pant and shirt this is our Mahabuddhi Prabhu, who was not yet initiated at that time. So he came and he sat. Okay, he came and sat. So Srila Prabhupada gave a direct look at him and started saying, "Why are you a Kripana?" He was like, "Who is a Kripana?" He does not know who is a Kripana. So Prabhupada started answering. A Kripana is a person who is not a Brahmana. A Brahmana is a person who is aware of what is his best interest and he will inquire into the Brahman and he is a Brahmana. But a Kripana is a person having taken the human form of life, he is not interested in what is the best thing which he can achieve in the human form of life, and hence he is called as Kripana. Oh. So Mahabuddhi Prabhu is thinking, क्या हो गया भैया? हम तो क्वेश्चन पूछा भी नहीं है. Prabhupada started, reading my mind. And on and on, Prabhupada started, ramming him, okay, without even he asking any question, just reading his mind, okay. And then he thought like, see, but one question is still left. What is that question? What is going to happen in the future? Okay. So that question Prabhupada has not answered. Like that he was thinking. Then Prabhupada asked, okay, get that Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto. So this was in the very early days of ISKCON, where by the time only the 2nd canto got printed. Okay. So Prabhupada was not, had never spoken anything about the future in Kali Yuga, what would happen, things like that. So then he asked Pradyumna to bring his, he has one copy of all the Vaishnava Acharya's Sanskrit commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. So he got that book. Okay. So then Prabhupada straight away goes to the 12th canto and then starts speaking. Lavanyam Keshadaranam. So, in the Kali Yuga, people will feel they are very, very beautiful when they have a lot of hair. And Mahabuddhi Prabhu is the only one in that entire room who is having a lot of hair. So he started realizing Prabhupada is scolding me. Okay. And then on Prabhupada started describing that, what is the nature of the people of Kali Yuga. So then Mahabodhi Prabhu, he realizes that he's being cornered. He pays obeisances, goes away, gets into his car and starts driving away. He was just not able to fathom the fact that, Srila Prabhupada has answered all his questions, but not the way in which he thought answers will come to him. Right? Generally it happens, no? When you go to somebody to ask a question, we want an answer, the answer which is there in our mind. Correct, no? Huh? We are not ready to get any other answer other than the answer which is there in our mind. So then what's the point in asking a question? Don't ask questions, no. Wasting the time of everybody, right? So here Mahabodhi Prabhu was, really smashed off. Okay. But the way Prabhupada did it is in his own style. He didn't feel any way a regret that, his ego got hurt or anything like that. He was quite happy that, Srila Prabhupada has answered all the questions without even he ever opening his mouth to ask a question. So much so he was happy. Then next day he comes back. He meets this devotee Karandar Prabhu. And he gives him a $1,000 check. So this Karandara Prabhu was shocked because in those very early days in ISKCON, somebody giving such a big check was unheard of. So then he says, why don't you go and ask, give this check to Prabhupada. Enough. I already got enough beatings without even asking a question. I can't meet him in person. So but anyway, so that was, apart. So he was quite happy that how, Srila Prabhupada answered his questions even without opening his mouth. So what we were saying, when we get some kind of questions in our mind, what's happening in this world, so much curious things, we should ask ourselves, is this something really required? Is this something really required for me? So why I have to ask this question, that whether this is really required for me? So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, here Prabhupada says, for instance, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that simply by understanding the transcendental nature of Lord Krishna's appearance, disappearance, and activities, one can immediately return home back to Godhead and never come back to this miserable condition of material existence. So here is something very, very interesting phenomenon. Very, very interesting phenomenon which is being explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam by Srila Prabhupada. To answer this, I'll narrate one more interesting anecdote so that we'll be able to connect these two things. Once one devotee asks Ramanujacharya, the great Vaishnava saint of the 11th century, right? So he asks Ramanujacharya, how should an aspiring spiritualist live his life? He asks this question. Then Ramanujacharya says, he gives a very wonderful, nice example. He says that, just imagine a boy and a girl are going to get married. There, whatever that alliance has been fixed, and the Nishchitartha is over, and then it is said that the marriage, the muhurtas are not there, no? It's there after some 4 or 5 months. Okay. So now what the boy and girl will be doing, assume it is an arranged marriage. Okay. So they would be, hankering, when will the day come when the marriage is going to happen. Both of them will start asking questions among themselves. The boy will ask the girl about what she likes. The girl will ask the boy what he likes. The boy will ask about the parents and the family members of the girl, and the girl will ask so many things like that. The entire next 3-4 months would be about the question and answers only. Question and answers only, not Brahma Jignasa. Question and answers about it's about basically, they're trying to understand and then developing a relationship, right? So Ramanujacharya says, moment a devotee becomes initiated and dikshita, he becomes initiated, he should think about what he is going to have in the Vaikuntha. How is he going to live in the place of Vaikuntha? How is he going to be there with his beloved Lord Narayana? Okay, how he can be, full of bliss always. What are the details? What does Narayana want? What he likes? What he, he wishes to eat. So somebody asked me when I was coming into Krishna consciousness, what does Balram ji like? Arey, हमको कुछ पता भी नहीं है बलराम जी को क्या, what he likes. Somebody else asked, what does Radharani like? Sorry, I don't know. So it should not be like that. So we should know all the details. What color of the dress they like, what kind of ornaments they like, what kind of way the Krishna would like to dress himself. We should be filled up with all kinds of details of Krishna, Radharani, all the transcendental personalities. Krishna said in the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita that Sachame Priyaha. He has given from the 12.13 to 12.20 various qualities of the devotee. Who is having such kind of qualities is something who is very, very dear to him. Right? Inquire like that. So here you see the question and answers. If you do so satisfyingly, our Bhagavatam class also will be interesting. Even after days and years are passed away, our Bhagavatam class also will be so interesting that we will not be sleeping. Okay. So there's one Mataji named Vrindavaneshwari Mataji. Okay. This was in the famous 1972 New Vrindavan, Janmashtami. There's a video available. Okay. Wherein Srila Prabhupada called so many people in New Vrindavan and he was addressing, that videos are available. So that was Janmashtami. Okay. So late in the night. Okay. What Srila Prabhupada used to do, not like in our current day Janmashtami where our temples are thronged with thousands of people, we can't even read any book. Okay. So in those days, Srila Prabhupada made it a point that Janmashtami means in the night, you should open the Krishna book, you should keep on reading like that. So this Mataji, Vrindavaneshwari Mataji, she has developed an interesting skill of how to run ahead of all the devotees and sit right in front of Srila Prabhupada. Okay, that is a skill she has mastered over a period of whatever, she has planned. Okay, that particular place, I should map it and she will come and sit in such a way that nobody will be able to occupy that place well in advance like that. So she's so interesting, so curious about hearing from Srila Prabhupada. So she was sitting, and it's not just some half an hour, 1 hour Bhagavatam class. It is some hours and hours and all going on. Krishna book is being passed on from one devotee to other devotee to other, and then Prabhupada is giving some comments and things like that and all. Okay. So suddenly, and she kept on always watching Srila Prabhupada. She kept on always watching Srila Prabhupada. So suddenly current went off. This is in New Vrindavan. It's like a forest. Okay. Pitch dark. Okay. They're all white-skinned, fair-skinned, but she couldn't see her own hands. Okay. It was so pitch dark. Okay. And they were all figuring out, the facilities team, they're figuring out how to get the current back. 5 minutes, 10 minutes over, still taking so much time. Then she kept on, looking straight, want to see how Srila Prabhupada will react to this. Will he scold? Why yaar, hamara Krishna book reading mein itna stopping ho gaya? Or anything like that. So then, after some time, suddenly, the current comes back. When the current comes back, she was looking at Srila Prabhupada. He was beaming. He was smiling. Okay? And he says that, and now, Krishna is there on is on the lap of Mother Yashoda, doing some, interesting things. And then Prabhupada says, now you're all tired. Okay, now let us stop reading Krishna book. She was like, the last what we heard about the Krishna book story was, before the current went off, was nothing to do with baby Krishna. It is something to do with some other later pastimes. But what's happening? So what's happening is, she was saying, actually Srila Prabhupada is not just hearing the Krishna book pastimes. He's actually interacting with Krishna. So we are so blessed to have such a wonderful Acharya who is able to personally connect with Lord Krishna, right? And also write those kind of wonderful purports and making us understand something such esoteric concepts which are difficult to understand, which are very, very difficult to understand. Imagine, just before Srila Prabhupada came to this world, where we had this kind of an opportunity to hear such wonderful explanation, detailed explanations to these scriptures, right? It is not possible, right? So one day, Srila Prabhupada was in the morning walk. So some devotees came up with all these Mayavadik arguments. Okay. So when Mayavadik arguments come up, means, Srila Prabhupada becomes a lion. Okay. He starts criticizing. So then, this was in Bombay. There was this person called as Dr. Patel, who always used to ask some questions. And along with Dr. Patel, there is one Mr. Shah. Okay. So he saw that, Prabhupada is always criticizing all these big people, Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, blah, blah, so many people. Okay. They are all very, very important people here. Why you are criticizing? Maybe you are having a different idea. Not, it's okay. Why are you criticizing? Like that, this Shah has started criticizing Srila Prabhupada, saying that, why are you scolding all these people? So he went on. So these other devotees who are watching this guy Shah, they want to silence him off. Srila Prabhupada said, wait, don't do anything. Let him say whatever he wants. So they're all walking. Srila Prabhupada was silent. That man went on speaking for 4-5 minutes, criticizing Srila Prabhupada. Why he is criticizing? So many other big sannyasis, so-called, Swamis, giving so many ideas and things like that. Then so Prabhupada was silent. They were still walking down. Just maybe some 2 or 3 minutes before they enter into the Juhu temple, Srila Prabhupada says that, see, it's not that I am criticizing. If you see the Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita also criticizes those people who is not surrendering to him. Where does he do? Namam drushtuchitano muda prapadyante naradamaha. So Krishna also chastises. Krishna also criticizes those people who are not surrendering maya paritagnanaha. So Prabhupada is saying, I am having a big task with me. I have to ensure that the disciples get the right knowledge, a right understanding. So Srila Prabhupada is very, very concerned that we get the right knowledge, right understanding about, the absolute truth, Krishna and things like that. So then Prabhupada said that. So then they went in to the Juhu temple inside. So then as usual, Prabhupada will be dot on the time, the Darshanarti, the deities' curtains were open. Then after the curtains, Darshanarti was over. Prabhupada was sitting in the Guru Puja seat in the Vyasasana, and the Guru Puja has started. So then, as usual, when Guru Puja happens, what we all do, we all offer a flowers to Srila Prabhupada, right? So then Mr. Shah also came with flowers. He offered flowers to Srila Prabhupada. And he put his head on Prabhupada's lotus feet. And he started crying like a baby. Okay. He couldn't just get up. He was just crying. Okay. So Prabhupada said, okay, it's okay. Huh? And then, so that devotee who watched this whole incident, he was saying how Srila Prabhupada, attracted a person by not answering his question fully. He answered his question, but he wasn't, aggressively pounding him back for asking a question like that, right? So how Srila Prabhupada, by his tolerance, how he has handled a person, and then the person became very, very happy with the way, Srila Prabhupada has answered him. Like that, right? So at another time, so there was this yet another set of lot of questions on Mayavada philosophy and all of those things. And whenever this kind of ideas come, Mayavada ideas and all come, Prabhupada will be very, very aggressive. He will be very, very aggressive. He will be just pounding like a wrestler, all the arguments. So while this going on, so then suddenly Prabhupada says, all these Mayavadis cannot understand the scriptures properly. Like Srila Prabhupada says. Then he asks all the devotees who are coming with him in the morning walk, why is it so? Okay. So then one devotee says, Naham Prakash Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavrataha. Okay. So then Prabhupada was still not satisfied with the answer. So each devotee started answering and giving different answers. What could be the reason? What could be the reason? They're not surrendered to Krishna. They're offenders to Krishna. They're envious of Krishna. Maybe they want to pray other gods. When they are thinking Krishna in Bhagavad Gita means Krishna is equal to so many other devatas, Ganesha, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what else? Impersonal. Okay, why? What else? We are talking about impersonalists are not able to understand the scriptures. Why? They don't have Prabhupada. Hari Bol. Good answer. So in fact, this devotee Rupa Vilas Prabhu, who was recollecting this pastime, so one devotee answered the question, that is Dayananda Prabhu answered this question, saying that Prabhupada, they don't have Bhaktivedanta, like that. So it means there are two aspects to it, two answers. One, obviously they don't have Prabhupada, that's why they don't get the right answer. Second thing is, they don't have Bhakti and Vedanta. Simply Vedanta discussion you'll do for a while. When the frog is on the frying pan and jumping towards Krishna consciousness, that time you'll ask all Brahma Jignasa questions. Afterwards, shant ho gaya. No more questions asked. Pura bhakti mein chale jayenge Prabhuji. But what's happening? We are becoming complacent. So that's why we need to have both, not only just Vedanta, we should also have Bhakti. We should have that, hankering. What is Krishna is like? What are his likings? What are these things? How much we know? Actually, we know very, very little. But why we stopped asking these questions? Because we are not having Bhakti Vedanta. We have to ask, so Vedanta is supported by Bhakti, Bhakti is again supported by Vedanta. If you are just only sentimental bhakti, then what will happen? Eventually, bhakti ko chhod denge, something will happen to us in our life. Whether Krishna is there or not, we don't know. Simply we heard that in Shastras and we saw one statue. Whether Krishna is there or not, we don't know. Who has seen? Yeah, don't know. Yeah, chhod do. So, Vedanta bhi shunya ho gaya, bhakti bhi shunya ho gaya. So, we should have both simultaneously, dealing with developing an understanding of Krishna and trying to love Krishna. Develop the understanding of this world and develop the distaste of this world. Develop the understanding of the behaviors how you should have with Vaishnavas and develop the love for Vaishnavas. Right? So, we should make positive effort to continuously increasing our attachment to Krishna, Srila Prabhupada, Vaishnavas, things like that. So once, there was this devotee named Hamsadutta Prabhu. He was with Srila Prabhupada for so many years personally. He was with Srila Prabhupada on many morning walk conversations. He was there with him in person, assisting him. He was the BBT editor, sorry not editor, what is it, BBT trustee, and so many important responsibilities he had taken up. Srila Prabhupada named Hamsadutta as one of the 11 gurus, okay, and he's the only one later on becomes the Ritvik. Among the 11, the only one who becomes later on Ritvik is this devotee named Hamsadutta Prabhu, okay. So this Hamsadutta Prabhu tells that, what did Srila Prabhupada do? Of course, he did many things, okay, for as a disciples, for us, right? He did so many things which an ordinary human being will do. He went on a morning walk. He went, he went into the park. He was walking down in the park. There was one dog jumping here and there. So then Prabhupada comments saying that the dog's freedom is there so long the master is not putting something on the collar. Right? Enough of your freedom, come. So similarly, we can dance so nicely. One fine day Maya will say, enough of your dancing now, over in this body, your time is up, now next body. So, like that, seemingly many ordinary things, Srila Prabhupada has viewed the world from the, world of a transcendentalist, from the view of a transcendentalist. And when those things are there in our memory, okay, when those things are there in our memory, so then what would happen? We don't see what is happening in front of us. So next time when you go into a park and you see a dog, you don't see the dog, but you see what? What Srila Prabhupada told. That you don't unnecessarily wag your tail like a dog in the park, trying to enjoy this very scenic, nice beauty. So don't wag your tail like that, but just remember the instruction of Srila Prabhupada. So like this, wherever you go, you see a chair, you see this thing, you see some things, you see one tape recorder, you see something, so many things. What will happen? You would see what Srila Prabhupada has done. So, in this way, we should develop that relationship with Srila Prabhupada, is what Hamsadutta Prabhu was saying. So one day, this was in 1967 in Boston. So there was this one young American disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He just heard something very interesting in Prabhupada's class. Okay, but he had a lot of questions. These Americans, they are very new to Hinduism, Hindu understanding, Hindu philosophy and things like that. They'll ask everything. Why Aarti is like this? Why not like this? We don't ask that questions. Because for us it's all got used to. Right? So they're asking all kinds of questions. So one question this devotee asks Prabhupada. Prabhupada, you said that a pure devotee sees Krishna everywhere. Okay. Now we are walking down in the street. There is a door, there is a wall, there is a window. So in the door there is one Krishna he sees, and in the wall there is one more Krishna is there, and in one window there is one more Krishna. From this Krishna to this Krishna there is a gap. How he will see? Oh, bah! What a wonderful question here. Huh? What a wonderful question, no? But I cannot answer. Only pure devotee like Prabhupada can answer, right? Huh? We cannot answer such kind of questions. How pure devotee looks at this world. Right? We are all Kanishta Adhikaris. We can only repeat like a parrot. Right? So, Prabhupada says that, you have seen this stick? He was waving his stick. So, what do you think about as soon as you see the stick? Prabhupada, this is your stick. Okay? So then tomorrow, say for example, your child, you dressed up your child, you send your child to the school. So there are the school, that kids, some shoes are there. So do you see the shoes or do you see the kid? Yes, Prabhupada, I see the kid, not necessarily only the shoes. So Prabhupada says, love is the basis. Prema pumarto maha. So prema is the basis. The highest thing is love. So when we are struggling with our small things in our life to big things in our life, so we should understand that the single thing which can solve all of our things is what? What is that? How much I am loving Krishna. How much I am loving Srila Prabhupada. So our whole, anxiety should be towards that. How much I am loving Krishna, loving Srila Prabhupada, loving all the great Vaishnavas who are surrounded me. Right? So when our queries are directed towards that, not to the mundane things like this. Okay? See, mundane things will go on its own. Right? And the mundane things will go on its own. You need not be worried. So then you would see that you will be fully happy. So if you see in the conclusion, similarly this Krishna Katha or topics of Krishna are so pure that wherever they are spoken, the place, the hearer, the inquirer, the speaker, and all concerned become purified. Because Krishna is the supreme pure. He is a supreme pure, pavitram, param brahma pavitram, like that Arjuna says in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, right? So let's bring Krishna in our life continuously. Let's bring Krishna into our life continuously. Let's bring Prabhupada into our life continuously. Let's hear more and more about him. Then we will be not only be purified, we'll also be very happy. Right? What is the supreme peaceful formula? Peace formula? What is the supreme peace formula? It's there in the 5th chapter. Bhoktaram yagnatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suradam sarvabhutanam gnatva mam shanti richati. Why we are asking all these kind of material questions? Because we are not satisfied, right? We kept on asking so many questions. What is the price in the stock market, to what is happening to Kantara movement, to so many thousands of questions we ask, but we are not at all satisfied because we are not hearing about Krishna. We are not accepting the supremacy of Krishna. We are not accepting that Krishna is the supreme friend of all and well-wisher of all. And Krishna is the one who is going to take all the benefits of my actions. Right? So let's do that and let's be peaceful. So with that I would like to conclude. If anybody has any questions. Any questions? Everything answered? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Prabhu, you had mentioned various pastimes which are really interesting. So I would like to understand the pastime about that Vrindavaneshwari Mataji, which were
Of?
Vrindavaneshwari Mataji, which you
Huh.
had mentioned.
Huh.
That there was a power cut off and suddenly Prabhupada.
Huh.
So I couldn't understand what was the message you wanted to convey.
Yeah, so the message was that, the context was about hearing attentively. So she was so interested in hearing from Prabhupada. Okay? And because she was so interested in hearing about Srila Prabhupada, and you would see how Prabhupada has reciprocated to her, how much he has passed on his conviction to her. Right? See, we should actually understand that most of these devotees, they suffered terribly. They suffered terribly after 1977. They were sent out by their God brothers and God sisters out of the movement. So much they had to go through, so much suffering they had to go through. But you ask them, whether they have given up Krishna consciousness? They haven't given up Krishna consciousness. Why? Because they have received that kind of a reciprocation from Srila Prabhupada. Right? So we see this, see, Vrindavaneshwari Mataji, she was so anxious to come forward and sit in the front, to hear from Srila Prabhupada. And boy, what Srila Prabhupada does, Srila Prabhupada actually is narrating what he's seeing. Krishna is doing with Yashoda. And not what is being read in the Krishna book. Right? So that much conviction Srila Prabhupada has passed on to her. That's it, no? Now any kind of suffering, she'll have nothing, she'll not be worried. Right? She'll be very strong like a bolt. Right? So show your enthusiasm to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada is there to take care. Okay? Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.